Yeah,
this
is my favorite video you posted today, by the way. I loved it.
You loved it?
Yeah.
What did you love about it?
That it was stealing for time.
So it was supposed to be double unders, but for some reason Instagram did that.
I love how both you and Huddy, I show you a video that you guys have done, and immediately you don't even, all you do is hit the double tap.
You show us a video we've done?
Like, or something you've done on one of your Instagrams, and you all immediately touch it and double tap.
Double tap.
Are we live?
We are live. We've been.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Live? Does that mean I'm not supposed to swear?
Hi guys, welcome back to podcast Unbroken.
Yeah, because you know normally don't swear.
This is Huddy McNugget, Shauna Norton, aka Snorton. It's me, Frollo. We're going to talk about the CrossFit Games. Hopefully you guys can hear us. This is the first time using the Mac because Huddy brought his camera with no SD card.
I have like 17 SD cards.
He has like 17 SD cards, and I live 30 minutes away, so.
Yeah. So
cool.
That's why we're live?
We're doing it live.
Fuck it, we're doing it live.
No editing.
So
no chance.
How'd you guys do today?
Super good day today. I already talked about the CrossFit Games on my profile, so just go watch that instead of watching this 15-minute.
There you guys.
Yeah, see ya.
Am I supposed to talk in there, or can I talk to you?
No, talk to the fan. Luke, I'm your father. No.
I go over there and start talking to the fan.
As long as you're loud enough to hear, like we said, project.
If somebody is watching this live, which we have nobody yet, but when you do, please just comment to know that if you can even hear us so that we can either stop the video or continue.
Well, if someone checks in now, how are they going to know? Because you already said that.
Oh, we're
in Inception right now. Yeah. Just pretend this isn't live.
Right now.
Pretend this isn't live.
It's the little green things, the indicator of it actually picking up what we're saying.
Hello.
Yes, it is.
Hello.
What if we're talking this close? It's the same thing.
I don't make any noise.
Cool. All right. So,
yeah, anyways.
So what do you guys want to start talking about? Let's start talking about the cuts.
Like I like it.
Your thoughts. Let's do
the podium.
Let's do pre CrossFit game thoughts first. So
I was upset.
You were upset?
I was upset with how many people they were letting into the games. Because before it was what, 40?
40
30.
40 or 50?
No, I think it was significantly smaller than what it was now. So it's such a small amount, and you knew everyone that was going. It was all top competitors. Whereas this time it was 143
and 138.
Yeah, a ton of. But they significantly cut down the teams, didn't they? Teams only 14 from the get-go.
I have no idea.
I think teams are super small. The teens, masters are all super small as well, from what I heard. I don't know.
No, the teens and masters, they didn't change it.
Are you sure?
100%.
The total amount?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Well, I know they did for teams, but like the fact that there's so many at once, kind of like in my eyes, like it's such a. I mean, if it's up to the individual, they're just in their country and they CrossFit Games offer them a spot and they want to pay to go do that. That's cool, but I thought like, why would I pay so much money to probably not make the very first event? And like, it's a lot of money to commit for. I guess it's an experience. You pay a lot of money. You go to Disney World. Like, and it's like, hotel, all that kind of stuff, and you pay a ton of money for a day of entertainment. They probably made a whole entire weekend of it. So I saw that point, but it's like in my eyes, like I wouldn't want to go just do one workout.
But qualifying for the games in and of itself is a mark of like how good you are as a CrossFit athlete.
So to rebuttal that, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I've listened to Chris Henshaw was a podcast with FitAid, and also Roy McKernan interviewed Brent Fikowski. And Brent put it as it makes the games less meaningful when there's so many bodies there. Like the fact that there's like now like 150 athletes now get to go home and see their CrossFit Games athletes. So it's like it's becoming more mainstream in a sense, even though 150 people out of the world isn't that much. But now next year, let's say out of the 150 again, it's 75 of them are all brand new people. So more and more people are Games athletes, whereas like literally the cream of the crop people that are the best from the get-go always make it. Brent's always going to make it. Patrick Bell's always going to make it.
Yeah, but
those
Brent
two
did
people,
make it.
they both those guys
Right.
cut.
So,
I mean, that
we haven't gotten to that point yet, but I have a whole another talk about that. I think, do you have any other thing you want to point out at the beginning of the...
Well, I thought it was, so one argument that someone had saying that they let so many people in was to give people the opportunity that might not have the opportunity. They would never have this opportunity. Like I talked about, we probably beat some of the people that made it to the games in other countries that don't have a lot of people doing CrossFit. It's very new. or
they don't have the resources.
yeah,
Like I have a lot of people that follow me on Conservative Fitness that are like from Brazil or like you know, Latin America or somewhere, and it's like they literally their affiliate is outside. They have barbells and some kettlebells.
Yeah.
Like they don't like they,
no
they saw
rowers,
the
assault bikes.
girls like there's a huge chunk of the girls that didn't do a single legless row climb. It's like, which is like, can you even consider like to be calling yourself a games athlete? You can't do something. You can't do 1 rep of a legless row climb. Literally, that used to be that was an event. That was an event at regionals in SoCal like a couple years ago. Wasn't it? It was like thrusters and legless row climbs. It's like that was a purpose to make it to the game.
They also had 10 legless row climbs for time before.
Well, and it's also like one of the things that I like about how they have the qualifying events now is it gives people an opportunity. You're fucked if you get sick or injured before or during the open. Like, you know, if you're trying to qualify for the games and something happens, you're screwed. Now that they have all of these different sanctioned events, it gives people an opportunity if they do get sick, if they do get injured or something happens, you know, even if like you have a judge and they fuck up your video or something like that, it gives you more opportunities to actually qualify versus before it's like, yeah, I mean, you have 5 weeks and
I think the sanctioned events are fine. I think that's a good idea. There's like maybe 32 next year, which is a lot in my opinion. But the fact that it was the best in your country during the Open, it was like, and literally there's so many countries that have populations of 10,000 people in them that maybe have one. I've heard of some of the countries had 1 affiliate in the whole entire country. So it's like I understand.
yeah,
like
that makes sense.
It's more. It's better because it gets more people watching the CrossFit Games. It gets
People that you're gonna cheer for your country now.
exactly. Yeah, it makes it more like a huge like global sport versus it being like very Canadian, UK, and US like
Australia,
sport. Yeah, Australia. Like those,
Iceland.
and you see I think it's on Instagram. It's Heat on Minded, something like that. I follow him on Conservative Fitness, so if you check out my Instagram, check out who I'm following. But he posts like super cool statistics, and it was like out of the 114 different countries that were represented at the games, or some number like that. Out of the top 10, only 4 were represented. All right, I'll have to pull it up.
Well, like, you saw that chick that was competing in the hijab, like that was the first time a UAE country had a woman at the games. Like that's fucking awesome. And even though people may have their opinions about Muslims and et cetera, it's still fucking awesome that she had that opportunity. So
It's just like the Olympics. That's what they made the format to.
Yeah.
I mean, our sport's evolving.
The statistic was 114 countries were represented at the games, and out of only 6 out of the top 10 men and women. So it's like literally U.S., Australia.
I don't understand what you're
Canada.
saying. What are you saying?
Out of the 114 countries represented at the games.
Yeah.
Out of the top 10 male and women, there's only a total of 6 different countries.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think if you want to pay for it, the cross is giving you opportunity.
Would you go if you were in that field? You made it?
Well, yeah, but I mean, to argue with them, like, so I heard also that it literally costs these people like $5,000 to $10,000 to fly around the world to get a hotel, and then a lot of these people too, not just for the, this is not regarding the Open, but for sanctioned events. The very last one was like the French Throwdown, and that event was a month before the games. Like I was talking to somebody, and you had to literally assume or hope for the best that you were going to make it and book like months in advance. Otherwise, you're going to get screwed trying to find a plane ticket. You're going to get screwed trying to find anything under like. I heard the Motel 6s at last year's games were like several $100s a night. Like they knew shit was going to pop off, so they upped their prices, which is super. I mean,
yeah,
supply and demand.
Capitalism.
But, yeah, freaking Donald Trump, dude. But so I think that to end that was my whole thing. It was like it's so many people now that it makes it cooler for everybody, but it makes it less cool for us that are super dedicated into the competition. Like that a lot of our members probably don't know a lot of the games athletes. Like they look at the top 10, they probably would know Matt Frazier and Noah Olson. Like
they would know them.
They would.
Yeah.
But I'm saying they probably wouldn't know. They know the very, very popular ones. But like for us that are really into it, and like letting people
frowning.
Yeah, who's he?
Letting people that aren't as fit as like that, maybe they are, I don't know, but that might not be as fit as us to go to the games represent their country. Like it's weird.
That's
it's weird.
an interesting.
Well,
perspective.
Well, here's this. Who cares who is considered a games athlete? We're only gonna remember the people who are winning.
Right.
Like
That top 10.
you don't ever talk about countries in the Olympics that do okay.
It's always first and second.
Right.
You know,
Maybe second.
you talk about the people who win or the people who take lots of drugs and then get kicked out of or the Olympics.
Yeah,
so
cheaters.
no matter what, who's there at the CrossFit Games. There's even CrossFit Games athletes that I didn't even know before the change happened because they were always like 40th place,
Right.
or like they were below the 30th mark. No one's ever made documentaries on them or videos, or they don't market themselves very well. They don't have a lot of sponsors, but the people who do well, they're going to be, Nike sponsored. They're going to be sponsored by these big names. We're going to see them all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be like any other sport. So I'm curious to see, though, if anybody will, just like the Olympics, go to a different country and try to make it to the CrossFit Games to see how they stack up.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it's going to work. Do you
Ooh,
have to be
so
a native? Well,
Yeah.
Later.
what else are you?
Move to Ecuador.
What else am
You
I?
have to be. You have to be descent.
I don't know.
I don't think if you.
I'm Irish.
You're Irish.
Why
right?
the fuck do you think I'm so good at hauling shit around?
Go to Ireland.
I think
Carry potatoes.
like is Tia?
She's
But
Australian.
Tia's she's competing in. But if she were to take first in the Open, would she be the fittest in America or fittest in Australia?
Oh,
She'd be the fittest in America. I don't know if she's a citizen. I don't know what her situation was. But if you move to another country and become a citizen, does that make you fittest?
Well, do you have to become a citizen?
I don't know. I think before to become a team, you had to be in that. You had to train in that state for 6 months, like a couple of years ago. So you had to show you didn't just move there the day before regionals and then made it to the games that way. I think you had to show you lived there for a while. So I wonder. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's not you're the fittest Nigerian. You're the fittest in Nigeria. That's what the title is. So I would think it'd just be you had to live there or something along those lines.
So now if that's the case, we're gonna see statistics of the easiest country to make it to the CrossFit Games.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, the ones that did the worst and probably a lot of athletes over there.
Or it'll stack up like in the world. So that would be interesting to see all the games athletes and then highlight them how they did in the CrossFit Open. Like this person from the US, Matt Frazier, he was first in the World Wide Open. And then every other country, Mexico, he was 300th in the Open. And then that would be interesting. Someone do that. I'm not smart enough to do that.
Oh yeah, that'll be on in a couple days, I bet. No worries.
That'd be badass.
We'll post that. Yeah. So now we'll kind of dive into the day one stuff and talk about cuts.
We kind of talked about the cuts already.
But I mean, so what I wanted to say was, what do you guys think of the very first day of workouts? Because it was that triplet.
It was a CrossFit workout.
It was I think the first workout was perfect. It was gymnastics, monostructural, and a heavy barbell. That's CrossFit.
They did that this morning at Humanity.
Yeah,
they did that workout.
Jesse scaled to 165, but he finished in 2020.
65? 2020. I think the time cap was 20 minutes, was it not? Yeah.
And he was so pissed. He's like, I was like, how'd you do? And he's like, I think he got 2020. He's like, good, you know what the time cap was? I was like, yeah, it's 20 minutes. He's like, fuck, I got 2020. You suck.
Well, I mean, obviously it's a tough workout.
Yeah.
You got 165. It's all go from a rope and then try to snatch. I assume that'd be pretty tough. But
we watched Pat Millner shake it around.
Yeah.
Pat Millner was all over the place with snatches.
Oh, you made a meme, didn't you? Wasn't that one of you that made a meme?
He did.
Yeah.
I don't know who posted it, but someone said that I think it was Brett Fikowski. Someone broke it down that Patrick Vellner, instead of, because he's known for shitting the bed on the first day, kind of coming back and then not really being a contender for Matt. He's just trying to fight for second. He might have thought to go out hot from the gate and give Matt a run for his money and keep him on his toes the entire time and try to keep that distance as close as he can. So that way it's not him trying to come from a huge deficit. He can kind of be toe-in-toe, essentially what Noah did for half of the competition. So I think that's probably what he did. Because otherwise it looked very sloppy. He was missing reps and falling over himself and just didn't look right.
Maybe he was just shitting the bed. I mean, that was, I said I wanted to talk about the competitor's mindset because we talked about this whole weekend, it was those athletes had a had to have a different mindset this time. They couldn't just go in there and be like, oh, it's okay, I can skate. If I'm not good at this, I don't have to stress it because nothing's going to happen. Now, all of a sudden, they have pressure they never had before.
You can't really have a bad event.
No. And you can't, like, moment to moment when you're training how to have a good mindset, but being at the games is like, it's a CrossFit Olympics, right? It's like it comes for Olympians, it comes every 4 years. For us, it comes every year. But some of these guys like have been training to get there for 5, 6, 7 years. And so now all of a sudden they get there, or they're trying to get, they were fourth and they're trying to get to the podium. The pressure is completely fucking different. They've never experienced this before. So, I mean, he might have just been like shit in his pants.
That too. Yeah. He could have thought like, yeah, I wonder what it could have been. Yeah, because Tim Paulson didn't make the very first event. Tim Paulson fell apart.
And Hunter did.
Yeah, Hunter did.
Wow.
Anyways. What was the second event?
The rock.
Handstand.
No.
Yeah, it was handstand.
No, it's a handstand.
It was 800-meter row.
800-meter row.
66
Shoulder overhead.
Shoulder overhead.
That's right.
I think it had to be push press or was it shoulder overhead, and then
That was jerk.
132 foot handstand walk.
Yeah. I think that was a good workout too.
That
Still,
was cool.
same thing. Monostructural
Super light.
weight. Yeah, lightweight. And now gymnastics again. I think day one was a perfect representation of CrossFit.
Yeah, it's crossing in the back.
Yeah, and I like they didn't have swimming the very first day. I didn't like they had swimming the very last day.
Why?
I think swimming should have been like second day. Because like, okay, these guys showed they're good at CrossFit. Now let's get them out of their zone and get them like, because then the second day there was the sled, bar muscle up, sled. I don't know if it was in this order. Sled,
No,
bar
it
muscle up,
started with
sled.
a ruck.
So
6,000-meter ruck.
So yesterday they did run, then the next day they did a ruck, and they also did a sled push. So it's like very lower body and like leg intensive, like very different domains. But I felt like it was just so much lower body, and it wasn't like they could have done more. I don't know. I thought a swim in there would have been cool, like a swim mix. Like normally it's a swim or run or swim and a bike, I think, whatever. But it's like if they did like maybe a swim.
Well, they did swim paddle.
I think like swim to like a barbell. I think it's been like what 2013. I think it was like Rich's last year when they did the swim and the bar muscle ups in the pool.
That wasn't his last year, but that was
Second to last year. Yeah, I think something like that, like something totally like a gymnastics and a swim, like something not like totally just like pacing, something kind of like a mixture. I don't know, make it totally varied.
Hmm.
That's how I felt about that.
weighted
I think,
swim.
yes,
Wow.
weight vest swim.
That's hard.
Or swim with like weights on your feet or something. That'd be shitty.
Or like
No,
how
that's-
fucking Ashley takes us in the pool. Have Huddy and I told
Tape your
you
legs together.
what happens when he and I are in the pool. So Ash goes, okay, we're gonna do some swim strokes and then we're gonna do some without legs, right? And so she has things that you squeeze between your legs, and then she gives us the fucking kickboards, right? And Huddy and I with the kickboards are like
These are opposite. You can't use both at the same time.
No. But with the kickboards, it's like slow motion, Shauna and Hudson going across the pool, fucking taking like 5 minutes to get from one
Yeah,
end
my
to the
heart
other.
rate's at 190,
And
kicking
it's
my
like-
ass off, not going anywhere.
And then she's like, all right, switch it up. And she gives us the fucking, just hold our legs up. And all of a sudden, both of our asses, his more than mine, float to the top. And it's like, it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, my legs are a waste of energy.
Yeah.
A waste
great.
of weight in the pool.
Stop growing them, dude. Have small legs like me. Check these guys
Trying.
out.
I haven't really squatted much. Okay, so now I think the one thing that everyone's talking about, everyone made a meme on, was Matt Frazier dropping, not intentionally, his bag dropping the
How do
weight
you know
in his
not
ruck.
intentionally? Or not, obviously not intentionally.
Not
but
intentionally. So
after the fact, did you?
in the Fit Aid podcast, Aaron talked to Chris Henshaw, which obviously Chris Henshaw is like his right hand man, like trains with him all the time. And Chris gave him like a bunch of different reasons as to why
He might have done it.
like why he did what he did, why he kept running.
Right.
So first off, it was right before a corner.
it was right before the end.
It was right before the end, so that's even a bigger point to mention. So it's right near the end. It was a corner.
Is there anybody watching
They've probably
this right
seen
now?
it.
Is there anybody turned on?
No,
Tuned
no one's
into
watching.
Boom.
How
Um,
did you like tell people to tune in.
Sean,
Well, we didn't know we were going
Let's
live
talk about that later. Let's keep.
We
on
didn't know we
the
were going live
subject.
till 10 minutes ago.
Talking about Matt Frazier.
So talking about how whenever Chris taught Matt that you never turn around and look who's behind you on a straightaway, because then it wastes your energy and it shows a sign of weakness that you're afraid someone's going to catch up behind you. Instead, you look behind you at the curve. Is that something you've heard of before?
No.
So like
Well,
when you make your turn.
I've heard that. Don't look behind you.
Yeah, so when you're making a turn, it's easy to kind of glance behind you and see what's going on. So that's one thing. The pack fell out right when you're making a turn. A second thing, everyone's saying, how would you not know in case if you didn't see it, how would you have not known that your pack would have all of a sudden lightened up? So his pack went from 40 pounds to 30 pounds. First, it was the very end of the workout. His heart rate's escalated. Like you can't tell when all of a sudden your bouncing backpack goes from one heavy weight to a slightly lighter heavy weight. Two, like you're exhausted. So not only is there's like weights bouncing around, he's trying to get to the end, he's all in frantic mode trying to finish hard. Like you're in a state where like literally you don't know what's going on. So like one other example Chris brought up was like when you are at the end of a workout, it's intense. Like his coach, when Chris was training back in the day, would say, "What's 9 plus 5?" To understand if is he in a relaxed state or is he in a frantic, gasping for air state. If he couldn't solve the math problem, no matter how basic it was, and he shows that his intensity is too high, it's something he can't sustain. Whereas if he can, then it shows that you are in control. Kind of like how we say like you at a talkable pace, or is it at a pace like you can barely talk, like the zones or whatever.
You pay a lot of attention to this shit.
No, Chris brought it up in his. Chris Henshaw is like not just bringing up workouts for Matt to do. It's like so methodical in everything he does.
Is he his coach?
Yeah.
Who else coaches him?
Matt?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Ben does or
I don't
who gives his programming.
I googled who's Matt Frazier's coach, and there were people on Reddit were talking about. Some guy even was like, "Why do people keep thinking that Ben is his coach?" And this was in back in 2017.
It was like his second year. He put
Yeah.
2017.
That's
Yeah,
because
I
he
don't know.
was his coach at that time.
Maybe Shane Orr. He's training with T all the time.
And that's what
maybe
he
there's
was saying.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's who I see him most with.
People didn't ask Matt Frazier the right questions at these events. After the next event he won, I'd be like, so not about this event, but why didn't you pick up the sandbag? Also, who the fuck is your coach? So
that's what
I agree. Like,
that's what I'm
come on, commentators.
That's what I'm getting at. So going back
you suck.
looking back around the turn thing, he might not have exactly felt the weight. It might have, like, obviously the weight could have been shifting around in the bag and been all over the place. He might not have felt the weight. The way he looked, he glances. He doesn't like look and like goes, oh, look at my weight. He like goes like boom and keeps running. But with the way Chris taught him, he's looking behind him for competitors. He might not be looking at the weight. If you could see his neck do this and then do this, that'd be slightly different. But it looks like he does this and then turns around. So that's another thing. The biggest one that was brought up, you know how they have briefings for each workout. And they say, these are the standards we got to do. Make sure you pass this line, blah, blah, blah. It could have been where during the briefing, they didn't say anything like, if your thing so happens to fall out, put it back in or do this or do that. There was no, this might not have been thought up to happen because it only happened to him.
Yeah. So
the one thing that maybe if Matt did see it, because I guess Chris hasn't really talked to him about it yet because Matt was still in like such a focus mode, hearing from going from 1st to 17th. One thing he could have done is he saw it. He went from 6th?
Yeah.
He was in 1st. He was wearing the leader's jersey.
6th place on that event.
Oh,
17th
place
on that event.
Okay. It could have been he saw maybe he did see the pack fall, and when he saw that, he thought maybe I'll get a smaller penalty if I finish this race and they deduct me whatever it is from that weight versus me stopping, having 3 guys pass me, and then chancing that way.
That makes the most sense to me. And I saw people talking a lot. I mean, everybody talks shit about it. They're like, "You saw, how do you not feel it?" Blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, and like Lucas Parker even posted like, "This is how you close a backpack." Where I mean, he wasn't even across the game, so
I think it was a joke. I think it was because he clowned someone else.
Yeah, he clowned everybody. But and like the thing is, you are doing a 6,000 meter race, and every time you're trying to put your pack on really quickly, he fucking threw the weight in there. Was just like, whatever, put this shit back on.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
So I heard they had to get cleared by a judge every time
Oh,
to start their run. I don't.
I mean,
I didn't watch it at all.
Well, cleared probably to make sure that they actually
they put
have
the weight in
correct
there.
weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they ran in,
Yeah.
put the backpack, threw the weight
They're not
in,
going to
picked
check
it
to
up.
make sure it's zipped up.
Yeah, you know,
Well, yeah,
just put it in there quickly. Then
It was 1,500 meter bounce though, right?
mile, but like yeah.
So yeah,
1,600
it fell at the very end too. So maybe he did zip it up, but the way he did it, just the way the weight was hitting and he was fucking running like this or something. Yeah, it could have been multiple different things. But one thing at the end of the day that Chris pointed out is that Matt's not a cheater.
Yeah.
We all know that from all his documentaries. So like, he'll kill it. Like, not kill. Like he
will kill you, Noah Olsen.
He gets disgusted at the thought
Stop
of someone
sliding
cheating,
the thing with the hammer, you cheater.
like the and probably really pissed off my notes at first. But like when Ricky Gerard, like that documentary where he's in it, and then like they're asking him, "Do you take drugs?" All the athletes like, "I would never take drugs." Ricky Gerard's like, "Nah, I wouldn't." Like he's very like subtle about it, but like it's kind of like shitty. It's like Matt's like, "Oh, I can't stand someone do drugs, blah blah blah." Like you can tell by Matt's character and how he trains, and when you see him compete under the lights of the stadium, and there's a tens of thousands of people around, obviously he's fit. There's no way he would not. Like he didn't strategically plan. Okay, I'm purposely trying to shake my bag hard this way.
He
Weights
didn't
come out.
cheat.
At the end of the
Absolutely
day,
not.
it doesn't matter.
Right.
They deducted the points. Like he still came back from a deficit and took first.
Yeah.
Like that just proves it. I think it's sick that his back fell. It made him work even harder. It made it more of a race.
Yeah.
Because it made prove that he is the fittest.
Hey, yeah,
literally,
real quick.
Matt,
Keep talking. Finish.
Matt's the best. Okay.
She's not going to eat all our cookies, is she?
Your cookies.
Anyway, no, people were questioning Matt Fraser's sportsmanship as well. And if you guys are going to base his sportsmanship off one event rather than 4 years, well, 6 years, but 4 years of getting a gold medal, then you guys have some bigger issues.
So you don't think he dopes?
Let's not talk about steroids and doping. This would turn into an hour extra. So let's talk about the games.
What did you guys think about day 3?
Today was day 4.
Today was day 4.
I don't even know what day 3 was. I was at work and
No, you weren't. It was yesterday.
day 3 was yesterday.
Oh yeah, you didn't do anything yesterday.
When
Oh, the clean event.
Yeah, 380.
the clean event was the best
Yeah,
one.
that
Clean
was
event
badass.
was lit.
Tia clear.
Tia.
Tia
clear.
265.
Yeah.
She can clean more than most men.
Yeah, she was scary when she put it. I was like, oh fuck, she's savage. She's screaming.
She can clean more than most boys.
The
She
way
takes care of you.
No, she doesn't.
the way that Matt hit that last weight too, it was so perfect. The way Tia hit the last weight too was so perfect. That, like the way
Well,
it wasn't even a that event was a competition between anyone. That was a Tia and Matt event. Like everyone's clean started falling apart. Matt just looked heavy, but it still looked so technically sound. It was James Newberry clean was disgusting. He literally deadlifted the bar and just shot underneath and just let the bar crush his soul and try to stand back up. Every
both
time.
of them, both Tia and Matt, are fucking amazing
They're fucking-
Olympic. Yeah. Shane doesn't care. It's a threesome.
Sorry, guys, we're not gonna have Sean on this podcast.
You're gonna get like 150 views because I'm on here and I'm talking about sex and cookies. So let's be real. They're like everybody talks about how people are so successful, especially women are so successful in CrossFit because they have the gymnastics background, right? But you look at the two people that have now won consecutive Matt won consecutive. Yeah, she won.
She's a
in a row.
repeat.
They are both Olympic weightlifters. And like I was watching Katrin when she was doing her muscle up, she failed one of her fucking muscle ups this morning.
She didn't fail it. She struggled.
But no, she failed. She failed on rep like 20. She kicked into it and missed and fell out of it.
Are you talking about rep 5?
No.
Of the
Rep
first
5,
10?
the commentator was talking about how shitty it looked.
Mm.
She actually failed a muscle up.
Well, yeah,
She
she's
needs to
a
really
gymnast, but she's not a male gymnast. Male gymnasts do rings.
Right,
Female gymnasts
but
don't do rings.
They talk about how female gymnasts like are so successful at CrossFit because they have this explosive background and they understand how to power production. And like you see Carrie Pierce, like you think about the floor routine of a gymnast and how they have to be explosive for 2 to 3 minutes. And then you think about turning that into like a touch and go snatch at a light rep. It's the exact same movement, right? So they can hold on. But then I started thinking about it and I started analyzing who Matt and Tia are. And one of the things that my coach instilled in me when I was like young in my CrossFit was if you have a 200-pound clean and you go and do, or 200-pound clean and jerk, and you go and do a 65-pound thruster, then it's nothing weight, right? But if you only have a 100-pound clean and jerk and you go and do a 65-pound thruster, then you're doing 80% of your fucking clean and jerk for reps. And Matt and Tia, like, they filled in their holes. They would have been gymnastics holes, but they had that super, super strong lifting to start.
Yeah, well, strength takes the longest to develop. So they already have that. They can work on everything else. Whereas most of the athletes need to get stronger.
And out of the 12 events, 4 of them had a barbell in it. So not every, is there 4 gymnastic workouts? There was the muscle up. There's one with, I'm not counting toes ring as gymnastic movement.
They were probably so excited when they saw that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, recovery movement.
Pegboard coming as gymnastics, pistols and handstand push-ups.
Gymnastics.
Man,
Dave Casher really
handstand
wanted
walks.
Noah
There's 4
He
hands.
really wanted Noah Olsen to win.
Should you count Lucas roll cons as gymnastics?
Yeah.
So technically there's 5 gymnastics movements. But with that being said, so the 2 things to that. One, it depends on, one thing also I wanted to point out was, this was probably the most vanilla CrossFit Games. The past few years has been like, we're flying to Rome, yeah, we're doing this. Or we're doing a triathlon, we're doing a bunch of crazy stuff. This one was like very super CrossFit-y from like start to finish.
What are you talking about, dude? They cut athletes after every event. I do wish they cut athletes a little bit slower, but
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Like cutting?
I'm saying
You're saying most vanilla.
most vanilla workouts.
I guess.
And there was no crazy
CrossFit workouts.
Yeah, they're very CrossFit. All stuff. Pretty much, you could do this whole
everything
at
But
your
that
gym.
swim was the longest swim they've ever had.
I think straight through. I think they've done
a
run,
500
swim, run, right?
Or
Is
they
it
did
run,
500
swim,
yard
run, swim?
swim, and then they did thrusters, and then a 500-yard swim.
So 1,000 yards.
I don't think that this is
That's
a big
3,000
difference.
feet.
I think just in general, like it seemed like the workouts, because of the fact that it was like so CrossFit from the get-go, and they did marry a bunch of literally ones you could program and do like as an affiliate.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's like, it seemed like it was, that's probably what they're trying to get back to also with their roots. It's like, you don't have to like literally just do couplets and triplets and go swimming every now and then. You can be really fit. So that might have been, what was the second point I was going to bring up? Yeah, I think you're right that then to what Roger pointed out, like strength takes long to develop. You can only get so many unbroken muscle ups.
Right.
You know what I mean? Before you like hit like before it becomes not a gymnastic. It's not really a gymnastic move anymore. It's just like muscular endurance. Like
Right.
They don't have to learn balance and technique, and it's like literally like throw yourself up and just get it done. So are you live something else?
Sorry, yeah.
Okay. Like literally, if we probably looked up all of their individual like unbroken muscle ups, they'd probably all be very close. Even though they had a gymnastics background, I think that helps you out at the beginning. Oh, Kari Pierce. I didn't see it. Let me see it.
Let me see.
When she ate shit, I just heard about it.
Oh my
She
god.
sandwiched herself.
Look at it.
Oh, so that,
Boom.
Oh!
that was so sad. Oh, man.
Oh,
I turned it on to hear last second when after that, and she's like, yeah, I think about the wind knocked out of her.
What happened?
She got tired. Everything she had.
That's how you know she was going full send. Oh, we got a viewer. Guys, if you can hear us clearly, please comment down below. And if you can't hear us, then we've done 33 minutes of video with terrible audio. So if you're here, please comment if you can hear us clearly or if this is terrible.
Well, here, I'm gonna try this. You normally sit like right here and you talk, right?
Yeah, I go. Hi,
So-
hello, everybody.
Hello. So it gets to like a 1 or like barely a 3. So I think we're good. As long as we keep talking loud.
Who is the viewer?
We can't tell. At least not right now. But finishing off. So first, it depends on the year of workouts. I feel like they're very barbell gymnastics, like not gymnastics, very barbell and weightlifting heavy. So it made sense they did good on those ones. But also, I think gymnastics helps you when you're first starting CrossFit because you have that background of body awareness.
They're gone.
That's fine. We scared them away. you have that background of body awareness, and then it helps you when it comes to weightlifting and running, and like you understand how to move yourself. Whereas like if you're just a weightlifter, I know a lot of people like just lift a lot of weight, they move like shit. So it's like doesn't necessarily help them with gymnastics. I feel like I fight you. In my opinion, you guys tell me yours. If you were to start your child in a sport to help them branch out as much as and the other ones as much as possible and do well with them, I would say gymnastics.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I thought that, like, I guess.
How'd you build a gymnast?
Yeah. And I thought that initially, but I think if I had to choose, I mean, I like the gymnastics because it you do have that body awareness, and I like the flexibility.
Core to extremity.
Core strength is huge. But I don't know. I guess I would want my kid to start CrossFit. I'd want my kid to start CrossFit. Now that that's actually an option and I don't have to think about the past, I would put my child in CrossFit from the get-go because that teaches them, that gives them the opportunity to learn gymnastics alongside the weightlifting.
Yeah, I think if you have a coach that has a gymnastics background that can teach those basics.
Yeah.
Like I know how to do a handstand walk and a handstand push, but I know like the basics of how to make them look good and do them efficiently. But I don't know how to teach that to a kid. I'd be screwed. Like I can kind of teach an adult.
You teach adults. I think it's
but adults can comprehend when I tell them to squeeze certain muscles. Like I don't know. I never really trained a kid in the sense of like trying to get efficient or something. It's kind of like just like have fun and be safe.
Great, but like when I was teaching fundamentals, I would actually tell my adults to turn their adult brain off, because when you're like, okay, I want you to start here and I want you to pull, and then you do this, and they're like, they overanalyze everything, and as a kid, you're like, okay, I want you to put the barbell here, and I want you to jump and pull under it, and they're like, yay, this is fun. They don't even, they don't know to even think about it.
Savon's kids are going to be the next CrossFit Games athletes.
Who's?
Savon, the guy that does the media, that has a big beard, that used to do like all documentaries. He like go with camera in their face and like, so how was that event?
I love Savon.
Have you seen his kids?
He gives no fucks about questions.
Did you see what he posted about Josh Bridges?
No, I didn't.
There's a picture of him standing next to, it's a picture of him, and he's like this looking at Dave Castro, and he's like, here's a picture of me asking Dave Castro where Josh Bridges is. Yeah, he's a savage. I heard he's kind of like a dick, but I think it's because he probably just like he's no fucks. No. But yeah, like he's posted a video of his kids. They're like, he has a bunch of plow boxes in his like garage or whatever, and the kids are really just like jumping around. Like the kids like jumping from a box like this high to like the floor and tumbling, and like I feel like
playing.
Yeah, they're playing where a lot of kids like don't understand that. I would assume that he doesn't have their kids a lot of like screen time. It's like, hey, you're not doing. They're young. They're like, maybe the oldest one would be like 4 or 5 at the most. I don't know.
My kid can have screen time if you finna win $3 million playing Fortnite.
That's what I mean. Yeah, either play video games all day long or don't at all. Either get really good or don't waste your time.
I'll just give him Red Bull.
I'm so conflicted about that growing up here, because in Maine, like, we went outside. Like, that was just...
Well, that's because you
it's not growing up here.
Electricity.
It's not growing up here. It's this generation. I did that shit when I was growing up. When I grew up, we had Nerf guns, and we pretend like we go behind our houses and like go to other houses like, go, go, go. Yeah, like we played as kids.
You grew up in track homes?
Yeah, we grew up in track homes.
Yeah, because we had neighbors.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
You didn't have neighbors?
No.
Tessa and her,
we had
her parents' house.
No wonder you're so
The driveway has one other house next to it, and then it's like a mile down the road another house.
I had neighbors. We had neighbors on one side of us. We had a trailer park that we used to ride our bike to and hang out with the kids.
Nice.
But I had a brother, so I mean, he and I played for the most part. I like to play by myself.
But it's the generation now. It's not California, because we all played. I remember every single Saturday, everyone
No, it's the city.
No, no, it's the generation. Literally every single Saturday. Marietta is a pretty big city. Marietta is 100,000 people. It's definitely more now.
Whoa.
100,000 is a lot.
Yeah.
How big is more than people here in Marietta than there is in Maine altogether? Yeah. How many people live in Maine? What's the population of Maine?
It's the same population as the county of San Diego, 3.2 million.
Okay, that's for a whole state. Anyways, yeah, San Diego's like this big compared to Maine. Yeah, like literally every single Saturday, everyone had their garages open, everybody's outside, all the parents talking to each other, all the kids are on their bikes rolling around. I was so lit. I wish times like that now, but now it's like I see my neighbor, I'm like, okay, get in my car right away. I won't talk to this person.
Yeah, but that's just because you're an adult and you realize that other adults talk too
They're
much.
stupid. No, they're
They
stupid.
are.
They
I
just
agree.
complain and whine and
I wave to everybody.
my job and like,
You do?
Yes. I go, I guess, hi neighbor.
You're the
they
neighbor
go,
there avoiding.
yeah, and they go like, oh shit, here we get your
They're
car.
like they're running to get. Oh my God, comes back.
Well, being nice.
Would you? So, one thing you
Totally
said
did.
in your episode of the games recap was how you had no idea Noah would do what he did and pretty much give Matt a run for his money the whole
Yeah.
time.
No way.
Right
Noah,
to the end.
yeah, Noah. I mean, he only had the opportunity because of the deduction Matt had from that workout, but still,
God works in mysterious ways.
count it.
Damn,
Yeah.
you guys have brought up politics, religion, cookies, sex.
Yeah, 3 ways.
This is about CrossFit.
But
Isn't that what's in CrossFit?
Noah Olson.
it's very interesting because the fact that he did a bunch of sanctioned events and didn't it took him I want to say 3 or 4 to finally qualify for the games. Like he was sweating towards the end. I remember he did a bunch. Yeah, and then he did really well. Versus people like Brent Fikowski, first in Asia, and from what I remember, I think he did really well. It wasn't like a neck and neck race. Like it was like he pretty much dominated in Asia, and he got cut so early.
Maybe it's mental.
So,
if we're going to talk about specific athletes, Brent Bukowski also missed the games a few times during the regionals, and he could have won.
before he made the games at all.
Yeah, before he made it to the games at all, he had missed just by a few points every year. So maybe his mental game, knowing that he could be cut in the games, was
I'm
skewed.
sure.
So-
Absolutely.
But who knows?
It also goes back to the workouts. So when he was talking to Roy McKernan, he said the workouts weren't necessarily in favor. And going back to the Heat on Minded, I can't remember what their Instagram name is, but they pointed out on there that they measured Noah's height versus Brent's height. They measured their weight versus his weight and got the percentages of what's the difference. So it was like a 10% difference in height, 13% difference in weight.
Oh yeah, Brent Bukowski.
So yeah, so it's a 23% difference per rep. That for Mary, which I think is the one he's got cut on.
Well,
So
and
literally,
he said he sucks at handstand push-ups.
Yeah, he does.
well, yeah, it's the fact that his arms are
Long
longer
arms.
makes it harder. And even if
And
he was
reps take longer.
as efficient strength wise to Noah, it would still take longer regardless. So that workout is literally just like
Good for short people.
he would have to do damage to Noah that workout. There's no way he could do good at that work because that one, yeah, Noah and Matt won that workout, and they're both 5'5", 5'6" athletes.
Yeah.
So
5'7", dude.
Yeah, Matt's
that's what he
5'7".
posted.
So is Kat. I was analyzing that. I mean, I was just breaking things down. And I'm going to be honest, part of it is because I'm stupidly comparing myself to them. But I was watching Katrin with those muscle ups, and there was a part of me, the small part of me, like the little person part of me, that was going, okay, I feel better about me not being amazing at muscle ups. Because
It was day 4, right?
it doesn't matter.
That was her 13th workout in like
Katrin,
72 hours.
doesn't matter. Shut up.
She paddled 1,000 meters that day.
She was having a hard time with muscle ups, and it made me feel better. And then I was like, she has really long arms. And so I looked up how tall she was. And you got to think about just physics. I mean, it's going to be her levers. It's harder for her to.
Is she tall?
5'7", yeah.
I'm 5'7". It's not tall.
And you're short.
Yeah, she's not
So
tall.
you're a boy.
Oh, man.
No. Can we talk about why you have a remote control for the fan when the room is actually so small?
It's modern. There's no pulling thingies. Okay. Yeah.
I was like, who the hell is this lazy person that has to have a remote control when the room is so small you can practically touch both walls with your arms?
Whatever, dude. Anyways, podium. What's her name? Kristen Holte? Holte?
Holte. That's how
I think I follow her. I'm pretty sure I do. I never really thought anything of her. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Never really knew she'd be a contender. Jamie Green, she won on a team. I want to say she did a
2
team.
years ago, they said, yeah.
No. I want to say she qualified like through a sanctional event, and then she redid one as an individual.
Let's see the podium.
Yeah. But Bjork Goodmanson, he's a beast.
He's always been good.
Yeah, he's been really consistent. He's like a Scott Panchik. Scott Panchik took 4th for the 3rd time.
I know that
Yo,
poor guy.
I hate that. I hate the commentators who are like, just, yo, he made it to the last day. All right. So,
one thing, I think the reporter her name is Nicole. It's like reporter Nicole's or Instagram or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that they give her a script of questions to ask the event winners every time, or the heat winners, because they're asking the dumbest things. Like, we saw that you look frustrated from the deduction of your points on the run. How did you feel going to this event? And he's like, well, I had to go hard, so I'm going to go get first. We saw you struggle in that movement, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I had to, it's like the dumbest, most rhetorical questions are like trying to get like a stir out of them when they're trying to be like, I just got to roll with the punches and go as it is. It's like, and the questions were so stupid. It was like so unnecessary.
She CrossFits?
She probably does.
CrossFit.
She probably does, but I mean, very recreationally. I feel like anyone that's part of the
we need
podcast-
Saban as a commentator.
Yeah, exactly. Just come with
He'd be
this
fucking
improv.
savage.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So you're in second to Noah Olsen. How do you feel about him cheating in the 2016
Yeah.
Can you tell us everybody here?
Yeah,
And your sandbag fell. Do you know how to close a fucking backpack?
I saw my kids have these backpack when they were 3.
Yeah.
They pack it up for themselves every morning. They go to school.
And then, like if Noah Olsen wanted an event, he'd be like, "So you typically shit the bed on one of these events, and you can't hold everything together. How are you gonna do that today?"
Yeah, that'd be funny.
That would have been terrible. But
Yeah,
Saban
I think
is a
the questions
savage.
are so dumb. As long as I think Kiki Dixon was there too, doing stuff.
Well, what frustrates me about the commentators of the CrossFit Games is typically when you're watching a sport, they don't just go, "Oh, and they're standing up on the rep. Oh, and he hit the ball." Like they will tell you, like, "Okay, nice, 5-yard gain, blah blah blah." Even though you can see that, but then they'll also be like, "Yeah, that rookie out of Ohio State, he's been doing this. This is a training regimen. He got signed for 2 years." That would be cool if they did that with the athletes of the CrossFit Games. Like, "Oh yeah, here's Matt Frazier, just signed another thing with Nike. He just got a new shoe release. This is his 4th games. This is 6th games appearance. He started when he was 21 years old. Whatever.
So-
I would
But
appreciate that
how
a lot
much
more.
do they know about? Like a lot of the athletes, they're training, everything about them is very private. Unless
Well, they could do a questionnaire like, "Hey, at Phil's house, we can have some talk
Yeah,
about that."
exactly.
But the thing is, like in the road booth with Sean Woodland on, they did that.
That's
So
what I like.
if
I
it
like
was
Sean
literally just,
Woodland
if it was
a lot.
literally just them talking over the workouts, because they were giving like, you'd be like, "Oh, and Matt Frazier 5.10, oh, he needs to take first in order to bump Noah down."
Yeah, that was awesome.
So like if they just got rid of the ones on the floor and just had them project over, that'd be perfect.
Or have people on the floor that actually know the athletes competing.
What do you think about Rogue buying the games?
The Road CrossFit Games,
Yeah.
that'd be sick.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the next step.
I wonder, well, who's surprised at like Rogue?
Unless Nike is just like overshadows the whole thing.
Did Rogue exist before CrossFit?
I think Rogue became bigger because of CrossFit.
But they were in existence prior to.
I don't know. I think they became Rogue because of the CrossFit. I don't know. He's gonna look up.
Google.
What's the dude's name? Bill something.
Bill Hillinger?
Because it
2007.
pops open. And then
No, it's fairly new. 2007.
so that's when the
And-
CrossFit Games started.
That's
When
when
the game started,
CrossFit.
yeah. The CrossFit started like it came. I
2000
think it became affiliated in 2000. But I think Greg said.
1997, isn't it?
Well, I know Greg said he was using. Greg was
That's what the
doing.
shoe
Shout
sa-
it.
That's what the shoe says.
Greg said he'd been doing his practice since like '84 or something like that.
Oh, it's 87.
Greg said he'd do his workouts and then he would train. I'm reading this book right now. I forgot what it's called. I'm not going like a chapter in, barely. So I'm only a chapter in. Well, the thing is, like, I can read very well in my head. And when the test is like I'll be reading a bit, she's like, I want to like read to me. I'll start reading and I'm like, fuck. I'm like adding periods in random spots. Like I'm like doing run-on sentences, and it's like,
Really?
yeah, I cannot read out loud for some reason. I haven't read out loud since high school. And even then, you read out loud in like your sophomore. You didn't read out loud in senior.
So-
It was like everyone shut up and read your books. I'm like,
That was like my jam. I've always been a really good reader, and I've always been a confident reader out loud. So I was
yeah,
that
you're a
asshole.
fucking annoying kid. Yeah.
I was like the one. Who wants to read it? Me, me,
It
me.
would suck when you had a kid with like a speech impediment, and the kid's like murmuring, it's like, oh fuck, we're gonna be here forever.
Oh my god! If they stuttered, it's like I'm I feel bad for people that stutter, but yeah, when they're reading out loud.
It would be
school,
funny
you're
when the cool kids that are actually dumb, like they're like, all right, they're gonna read. The kids like, the Industrial Revolution was started by like.
You guys are mean.
Well, they were mean back then. Anyways.
Why are you so sensitive? Are you on your
You
period?
guys are mean.
No, this is the camera's on. Anyways,
Yeah. Turn it off.
turn it off. He starts,
Roll of the
starts
dick.
choking you.
It's
So
because he's hungover from his 2 shots.
overall, what are your guys' thoughts on the games, and what do you want the same for next year? What could they change? What should they do? Like bring back?
This was the best CrossFit Games since Rich Froning going for a 4th win, in my opinion. Most exciting with the cuts. Is the first time that I was able to actually watch all of the CrossFit Games, which was badass.
Like,
What could they
low.
do differently? Change the location. Again,
Why?
change the location to a different country. Like, let's take it global, prestige, worldwide.
Well, I think that's the point of the sanction events now, because before it was like in all of Europe, there's only one regionals. Now, technically, there can be a bunch of sanction events in their area, in their country. So that way, now it's more.
And
I think that's
selfishly,
the stepping stone.
when we go to the games next year, you want to be buying a ticket to another country
Absolutely.
instead of going to
I
Wisconsin?
know, like a lot of people said, let's do it in Iceland and things like that.
Oh,
That'd be
okay.
awesome. Let's have a change. Like instead of people having to come here and get used to the weather, like let's take it to their home court. You know. So, and I mean, I think they're on the right track to doing things just like how the Olympics are doing. Also, what I do want to see though is I want to see third-party drug testing. I want to see, just like in the Olympics, it's not them who releases who's doping. It's a different company. So instead of CrossFit being like these people were caught, but maybe they're sweeping other people under the rug that were
So,
caught.
to my understanding, I think it is, but they get the results, and what they do with the results is up to them.
Yeah, that's
I think
stupid. That doesn't make any sense.
So
It
I-
should be a third party that releases who was popped for what exactly. So there's no CrossFit going, this person makes us a lot of money, they're good publicity.
That's one thing Aaron Hine brought up.
We're
He
not-
said, like, yeah,
Or-
when people that get popped are the people that no one likes. Like Ricky Garrard, he was like this rookie. Everyone thought he was kind of like stuck up and like in himself. And Ben
Gerard.
His
Oh,
brother.
Ricky is his brother.
Ricky got
Who
caught
also
too.
got popped.
Yeah, he really wasn't doing the games. But then like all the people that get popped are these no-name people that like were middle of the pack or the bottom of the list. Like if
Ben Gerard was
people, but I think it's because everyone didn't like him and no one wanted to see this rookie all of a sudden like that was so stuck up and full of himself and like cocky. Like it wasn't like no Ulster's rookie year. It was like, oh, look at this little kid, so cute. Look, he's trying to make the podium. Like Noah was a fan favorite when he was a rookie. Like when Ben Gerard, whatever, came in, I thought like, who the hell is this guy? Like, he seems like a tool, and he's like, I don't know. Wait,
But
his
maybe-
underbite made him look less enjoyable too.
I want to be devil's advocate for a minute. Why don't we let them do whatever they want, and then they have to communicate it? I would
No,
rather
I disagree.
personally, as a follower and a spectator, I would rather know that they did or they won or they didn't win and what they were taking, because the conversation is not did they, the conversation is what are they taking, right? Like,
I disagree. Because then everybody knows to get there you have to dope, which one, that takes away more than half of the field because a lot of them can't afford it. Maybe the stuff that they're going to take is going to kill them. Like, it should
I feel
just
like
be.
if you
But
can
don't
make
you
it to the
think-
games, you can afford it.
that everybody, don't you think that most of them do have to take stuff? Because some of them started and they brought themselves so far up that in order to catch them, everybody has to take it if you're doing individual.
Especially people that came from competitive sports, also people that were
Well,
ex.
let's just see
football
the
players are-
third party release everybody's taking it. They're all fucking suspended. Then it's clean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But-
that will always be there. But if you
Yeah, with
just
every sport.
took
But
it
if there could
away-
be better regulations.
But then, so what if, let's say, Dave
Drugs
Castro
should be
Glassman
legal.
does that?
What's that?
drugs should be legal.
Well, let's say,
We'll have a different
let's
conversation
say
when the
Greg
video's
Glassman,
away.
Greg Glassman does that,
Okay.
and then 57 of the games out this year get popped.
Yeah.
Then CrossFit's fucked. Literally, CrossFit's ruined as a name
Why?
Because then now all these athletes, all the people we call fittest in the earth, everyone's going to make a mockery of CrossFit, and everyone's going to talk crap.
Okay, but look at fucking Russia getting popped for, Russia. Yeah, in the Olympics. I just can't compete for a few years now. Does it take away from any of the things that they've done? There's like a little asterisk by it now. So let's see which country is doping the most.
But everybody knew that Russia was already doping.
Okay, so if we know all these games athletes are doping, why don't we kick them out for a few years?
Wait, I'm saying so on my personal, we'll talk about Russia. We'll talk about
we'll talk about, do you want to dope to make it to the CrossFit Games?
No.
Okay, then that's all you had to say. So
but if I was 25 and I was seeing Tia Claire Toomey take it, and I was getting close to her, and I had a suspicion.
So what do you mean seeing her take it? Like she got popped?
No, seeing her take.
You're hanging out with her?
No, seeing her win the games again, and I was close to her. It would definitely, if that sport had become, I'd become so obsessed about it, that it would definitely cross my mind. I have had moments, I'm not going to lie, when I know that if I was taking something, I'd be recovering faster, and I would be stronger, and I would be getting there sooner.
So
and
why
I
don't you do it then?
Because it's not worth it to me. I'm too old to be a really legitimate professional athlete. My career is only going to be a few more years where I want to commit this much time to be competitive.
Well, why not make the most of the years you have left?
Because the consequences of it are not worth it.
So you should just
especially as a girl. Like if
why,
you guys,
then why make it legal? Because then more people are going to be in that situation, or they're screwed for the rest of their life.
but that's personal choice. You're so fucking responsible for yourself. Like I'm making a personal choice. I'm responsible for myself. I'm recognizing that the risk is not worth the reward because there are long-term consequences.
I think it's comparable to so just like how there's a million, everyone knows that if you play football professionally, you do for 5 years, you're gonna have issues. You're gonna have something. You're gonna have like crazy concussions. You're gonna have brain problems. Like you're gonna have problems with memory. You're gonna have like
Unless you're
Alzheimer's.
Jason Witten.
Like literally every
No, Jason Witten.
No, but keep going.
He's not.
Literally every single professional football player is gonna have concussions. Like it happens literally on like the PB level. That's why they're trying to like make more regulations this and that to make kids safer. But football or the NFL themselves, organization, it's not going to be like, okay, we realize this and we're doing this. Like they're kind of keep pushing off to the side with all these studies that are coming from third parties. They're saying, no, it's not. Like our helmets are doing this and that. So they're just denying it. I think the only way that CrossFit from where they're at right now can fix that is if they were to say, they blast it out loud and say, everybody, we're changing our doping committee, and it's going to be a third party, and they're going to take care of everything for us. They're going to test for everything under the sun, and like there's no hiding anything next to us. We'll see athletes that maybe were not come here, so that way it doesn't put CrossFit in a bad taste. But then, because you're preparing to the Olympics, I feel like the Olympics wasn't. I don't know.
Well, we can
talk
about biking, cycling.
Wait, we would talk about weightlifting. Like we had that conversation at the gym the other day. The majority of weightlifters at that level, at the national and world level, are doping. Like they're just not getting caught, right? And we heard that from a pretty credible source. So they have third party doping or third party testing.
So when it comes to cycling though, is it similar to the Olympics and weightlifting where you can bring 3 people from your country to represent? Or X amount.
I have no idea.
So is that the same with cycling?
I'm just saying that doping.
Or can anyone that qualifies in a certain race can make it?
You mean like the Tour de France?
Yeah.
France.
France. Tour de France. Because I'm fucking American.
It's like how does it? So literally, can anyone? Is it like CrossFit where it's sanctioned events and you could be whatever nationality or from whatever country
you have to qualify for it, and it's a team event.
But is it like weightlifting where you make a team for your nation and you go represent your nation?
Yes.
It's like that?
Yes.
So that's different. So that's we can pop this nation, say this coach with his athletes did this, he's gone, all these other nations are safe. If we just literally pull out a whole sheet and every single nation is doping, that's gonna reflect CrossFit and to say it like it's gonna put CrossFit under the bus. If we just say everyone from Ghana is cheating, they're gone, that's totally different. If we pop every single previous games athlete, like it's gonna decredit everything. CrossFit's not the best sport because they're doping.
But everybody
CrossFit
knows
gets
that
shit
most
on
of
right
them are
now.
doping anyways.
I can say what I think, but I really don't know. And
What do you think?
I think
What do you,
I would
you
think you
want
have
to
to.
think?
I would think to be that level, if people in the mid to bottom are getting popped, what is that? That means there's 50 guys above them that aren't. There has to be some. There has to be. But I don't know to what extent. I don't know who is. I don't know if Matt is. But then it can't be legal, because then if it's legal, everyone's gonna say juice themselves up and just fucking blow their brains out on literally on the competition floor.
Why don't you? We're trying to protect people, and why aren't you asking them to be personally responsible? Where you're saying like
Because money's
it's just like
involved. It's greed.
alcohol, but
Yeah,
they're still
exactly.
responsible for themselves.
Yeah, but then if you have a public, you're
Ron does
showing.
not like this conversation at all.
I think we're gonna end it soon.
Yeah.
I think if you're showing people,
You're just being extremely annoying because cross is a health sport. Like the goal is health and wellness, and if we're gonna compete, why would you just say make it legal? No, let's try to take steps to pop the people who are taking drug tests and to detour the people and the kids that are growing up in the sport, the teens, to take it because that's the only way they're gonna make it. That would suck. That would suck to have every single team be like, well, the only way I'm gonna make it is if I start doing drugs.
especially if they do.
I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, I
especially
don't.
if
You don't. You just said make it legal. Be personally responsible.
I agree with your statement that it sucks, but
So why
Right.
not just make it legal? Why not make it hard for them to do that so it detours them from doing it?
because it's like the whole argument that exists right now about making drugs legal in the United States.
Let's
like,
let's talk about CrossFit.
but you don't like that conversation, but it is the exact same situation. So
Care
with
about guns.
CrossFit,
Should guns just be legal everywhere, or should we make things really hard for people to get them? Because that's what I want to bring up. Because you think not everybody should have guns. Well, why not?
it's a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you doing drugs maybe could directly affect me, but
So
it's
if drugs
way
are legal,
less
that means I can sell
likely
drugs to your kids.
how we probably should not be having this conversation.
That's why I said we'll wait for this to be over.
Let us know if you guys want to continue this in the next episode. But yeah, that ends.
Negative views on this.
Yeah, people with a bunch of dislikes. But that ends our CrossFit Games talk. Let us know what you guys think on your thoughts. What they could change. The winners. Matt Frazier's penalty. They didn't really disclose how they came up with that 60-second penalty.
Oh no.
And one other thing, Aaron Hine went in. I recommend going to Fit8's YouTube channel and checking out the podcast with Aaron and Chris. And he brought up, he said, what if this same situation happened to someone else, happened to any other athlete, maybe in the middle of the pack? Would it have been the same 6-second penalty? Would it have been disqualification? Would it have been they literally they made it enough to where everyone was in an uproar when that happened. Everyone was like, he saw it. What was he doing? What was he thinking? It was enough to make him move. Do you know what place it put him in?
No idea.
6th event, 17th event. I'm assuming it bumped him down a significant amount because he was 4th for a while when I saw, but he probably was down a little bit more than that, maybe like 8th. So they bumped him down enough to where like, hey, don't do that again. But then he made it back up. So they kind of give him a layup. But if it was anyone else, when they said why would you do that? You're done. Or a 2-minute penalty or something like that.
What we didn't see is Dave Castro's talking about the runs.
Yeah, exactly. All right, but yeah, let us know your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think of this year's games? We have one viewer. Perfect. See ya. You came at the right time.
Yeah, they did.